Welcome, everybody, to the Digital Nomad Experts Podcast by Beach Commute. We've got Jeff and Marissa here today, and we are going to do something we haven't done in a while. It's rapid-fire questions from the audience. So you guys write in really good stuff at hello@beachcommute.com. We get a lot of good suggestions for podcasts. We also get a lot of random questions about travel, about jobs, about being a digital nomad in general. So when you send these in, they don't get ignored. We put them in our notepad and really organized in my notepad. And
I do everything by my notes. They're organized.
Mine are not organized. They exist. They're on the computer.
We'll take it.
Transferring them over from the old MacBook to the new MacBook. So I've got simultaneous. I look like a day trader here. I've got simultaneous laptops open and all over the place. But we keep them all. And what we do is Marissa and I will not look at the ones that we've kept, and we will ask the other person the question. So when I ask Marissa a question, she has no idea what's coming, and she has to answer it on the fly without preparation. I don't know why we do it this way. It sounded fun the first time, and we just kept doing it. I don't know. Maybe that's how I ended up. I just sounded like a fun thing to do.
I feel like, I don't know why now that you say it, we certainly could prepare, but I feel like it gives it the real on-the-fly gut answers, not let me think about it and research. It's I feel like these are the real truths that come out when we do it this way. And it gives it some fun little kind of extra sass to it, which we love.
Yeah, nothing's particularly rehearsed on the show anyways. It is kind of just candid. So this is just in keeping with that tradition, I guess. So I don't know.
Yes.
But you guys vote with you all vote with your listens, and these ones tend to do very well. So we listen to that. We look at the numbers, and we do a lot of things driven based on what you guys like the most. So this is just one of them.
All right. So with that.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Maybe. How are you doing? What's going on? Just
Maybe.
Jump right in.
We're just jumping in. I'm okay. I think last episode we recorded, I was sick with a really bad cough. I am still sick. This is the sickness that never ends. There's a 3.5 week bug going around. So you might hear my voice is a little off or coughing. I'm okay. I'm still here to answer questions. We got this. I'm excited. But still just home for the holidays before heading back to Costa Rica in January. So yeah, that's where I'm at.
How long in Costa Rica are you going to be?
I'll be there, 1 month minimum, and maybe longer, maybe shorter. I haven't booked, as we really do promise here on Beach Commute. I haven't decided on a return date or ticket or time or place or anything. So I know I'm going to the beginning of January, and then we'll see what unfolds from there. But yeah, I would say minimum of a month.
No, I was kind of reflecting yesterday. I don't think I've done a beach location since 2020.
What?
Maybe?
My heart hurts.
I went to the beach in Barcelona. Does that count? Does not count, does it?
No.
That doesn't count.
It's beachy, but it's not a tropical, everything revolves around beach.
21.
Where was the last place you were?
Honestly, I think it was Zihuatanejo in 2020.
Oh my gosh, Jeff.
I know.
Are you getting back? Yeah. You still don't have plans to get to the beach, do you?
No, I still don't. Is Buenos Aires near a beach?
Yes, but it's still also, I feel like that's city first, not beach town nomad life,
Yeah. I feel like I'm due. I feel like I do want that again. And maybe it's just because it's fucking cold and I'm not happy with cold toes. So it might change once I get into Buenos Aires or Medellin.
I'm fine again.
Although there's something about the vibe to it that I do kind of miss. Yeah. I wonder what our audience thinks. I wonder if they're more city people or beach people. I got a feeling they're more beach people.
Let's put a poll. Can't we do a poll? At least on the Spotify ones. Let's add a poll. Are you a beach person or are you a city or beach? I mean, there's lots of other options too. But I guess if you had to choose between city or beach, we want to know which you would choose.
I'll put it open up on Spotify and then just right below, there's a little poll there. Hit city or beach. I'm really curious.
I am too. Yeah, let us know. Super excited to see. So with that, we've got, you're also back home for the holidays, heading back to Colombia and then Argentina and then Mexico, but not to the beach. Is your kind of beginning of the year-ish plans.
That's it. That's going to take me through, I think, March or so, which is well ahead of my usual planning. So not bad. I feel like I'm really planning a lot more. So
Look at us.
I know, right? So organized.
Are we aging or just maybe things are happening? You also have it for like, I feel like you have like a wedding to go to. Like there's things planned that are
there's
your
anchors,
reasons.
yeah.
When there's anchors, I give you permission for that. Like there become reasons for it. So, all right, reading question number 1. No idea what it is. So, Jeff, what is one skill or hobby you developed during your nomadic life that you didn't expect to pursue?
Ooh. Okay. I've got one. It's got to come with a disclaimer, I guess.
Okay.
I started really getting into psychedelics as when I became a digital nomad. Let me just throw it out there. We do not condone or recommend doing psychedelics. You need to look into your local laws and speak with your doctor first before doing any of these things.
Those are good disclaimers. I feel good about that.
Pretty solid, right? All right, now that that's out of the way. I discovered them first time was ayahuasca, and we still need to do that. I still need to talk about
you
ayahuasca.
and I did that together for the first time,
Yeah, exactly. So we did that in Bolivia, and that was my first true experience with psychedelics. And of course, you just jump right into... Yeah, I just jumped right into the ocean on that one.
Yeah, I don't even think about that as a I don't think about that.
Oh, it's 100% a psychedelic.
I mean, it is, but I don't think about it as like a psychedelic, you know? Because I feel like there's so many, sometimes it's like outwardly psychedelic, sometimes it's inwardly other things. So, but I'll take it. Yeah,
that was my first foray into that. And then since then, I've like really kind of experimented with a lot of different psychedelics. I've done a lot of research into it. I've watched a lot of documentaries on it. It's really, really interesting because it can be used in so many different ways. Like they are doing a lot of really interesting stuff in a lot of different categories. So for one, they're doing research into it for people with mental health disorders, specifically like PTSD. They're giving it to war veterans.
Yeah.
And these people with like 20 years of PTSD on meds, taking therapy, they're sending people in and they're doing psychedelic treatment, and they're like cured of PTSD after like 3 sessions. Like gone. 100% gone. It's mind-blowing. They're doing psilocybin mushrooms for people they've got like cancer, they're not going to make it, and they're helping them like accept death, and it's like working. People are approaching the rest of their life in a whole new way without fear. They're doing a lot of really interesting stuff. There's also for productivity. They're also using psilocybin mushrooms in microdoses for productivity. I do that. I've talked about that on this podcast with Rob before.
Yeah.
So you can go like
and creativity too.
Yeah, totally. You can go 2 different ends of the spectrum. It's a weird plant, fungus, where if you take up to a certain point, you will have like increased energy, focus, creativity, and productivity. Yeah. When you cross that point, you get the opposite effect. You start getting into the spiritual realm, and then you will not be productive or creative. Well, you might be creative, but you will not be productive. It's and then there's also the recreational aspect to it. There's a lot of I've seen some of the most beautiful things in my life on psychedelics, just like, and experiences music that's just like you feel in your bones and in your soul, and you like the visual things that you see, the colors that pop on things. Like it's a really interesting thing because it just connects. It's synesthesia, so it connects different parts of your brain that don't usually talk together. So sound and like visuals will connect, and all of a sudden that's why you hear people say things like, "Oh, I'm tasting colors," or "I'm feeling sounds," because it's not because of some crazy mystical thing. It's connecting parts of your brain that don't talk together. And that's why it's healing a lot of people, because it causes neuroplasticity, creates new pathways, makes you approach things differently.
Yeah, and helps process parts of your brain as well, like that are just laying there, and that goes more to like the traumatic side, or things you haven't dealt with emotionally can actually process and leave your body in ways that they kind of get trapped and stuck.
Yeah, actually for the PTSD thing, they're giving to war veterans MDMA. And what it does is it allows them to view those experiences objectively without the fear and the pain. And it lets them relive it in a safe environment. And then once they're able to process it like that, they can move past it. But they have to go through it in an environment that works, you know?
I'm obsessed with it. I feel like you and I could probably go on forever and ever and ever. We won't do that just on this topic, but I also like so strongly believe in everything you're saying here. Have also Yeah, I didn't expect travel to like open up this side of the world to me. And I don't know, maybe it's just like you kind of try different things and do different things when you're in a different environment. Like if you're in a different country and meeting new people and doing new things, you sort of start to like experiment and try things that maybe you just would be a hard no to, or just hadn't thought about, or hadn't been exposed to, or had the opportunity to do in other places. So I love that about about digital nomad life. It brings so many unexpected things. And I have a lot of other travel friends and people who were like terrified of doing psychedelics or drugs, or I say drug, anything kind of in this world that we're saying it's like, mushrooms are natural. Like it is inherent, like to the ground, to the earth. And a lot of people are so afraid of it. And since being exposed to more people who have done it, not just, purely like recreational or at clubs or whatever it's like for self-development, for learning, for healing. I know a lot of people have been exposed to it and tried it for that reason and have had just like mind-blowing experiences and improvements in their life because of it. So it's one of those unexpected, there's so many. That wasn't one we talked about. We did a whole episode on like unexpected benefits of nomad life, but that I don't even think we talked about that one. So I love this question. It's not at all where I thought you were gonna go. It's like, what's a skill or hobby? You're like, well, it's like it's
kind of a hobby, yeah. I thought about it for a second. I was like, nah, that one a little bit. I'm like, no, this one really did come through. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, it's a cool reason why. And for anyone interested, I just want to throw out a book recommendation if maybe this is like brand new to you. I don't know if you've read this, Jeff, of How to Change Your Mind by Michael Pollan. Have you read that one?
I watched his docuseries on that.
Yeah.
On all the different, he's great.
It's a good place to start of kind of like it gives you more like science-y, but also the sort of like qualitative healing. But if you're curious, if this is brand new to you and you just want to learn more, I feel like it's a really good starting point for that.
Also, Fantastic Fungi.
Yeah.
It's a really, even if you're not into this stuff, it's just really beautiful. It's a really, really good, well done documentary.
Yeah.
Talks about this kind of stuff. And yeah, just to get on that point, like this was discovered through traveling with groups and just exposure to this kind of thing. And a lot of people see these things like LSD and mushrooms. They hear that and go, oh my God, hard drugs.
Right.
Well, it's a hard drug because you haven't done it. Like that's why it's a hard drug. Alcohol is a hard drug. That's a really
what's your definition of hard here?
Yeah, what's your definition of hard? My definition of a hard drug is like detrimental to yourself and your environment. Alcohol fits that bill.
Yeah,
like to a T. Cocaine, those kind of drugs fit that bill to a T. These are mind expanding types of things. These are not what I would consider hard drugs. You can have intense experiences.
Yes.
But it's not going to ruin your body. Again, disclaimers. Not a doctor.
We are not doctors. We are not legal advice. Do not take anything from us ever.
Yeah, exactly.
But yes, I do think, I love that and part of that question was that you didn't expect to pursue. So that was new and
totally unexpected.
Yeah, and I remember your fear going into ayahuasca. You were like, I don't know, I'm terrified to do this. What if I get stuck in it, whatever? And it was so healing for you, for me, for all of it. I was excited. But yeah, I've definitely explored more of this side of life and of the world since traveling for sure. So what a fun answer. Wasn't expecting to go here.
Yeah. On that note, enjoy Costa Rica.
Thank you.
Good spot. Think about it. All right. Okay, number 2, coming to you. Describe a moment when you experienced a major win, like as it relates directly to digital nomad lifestyle.
Yes, the first one, I'm sure this could go in many directions, as did your question number 1, which I love. But the first, we have our rule. If you're new to Beach Commute podcast here, Jeff and I always have a rule of whatever comes to our mind first is usually the right answer, like that gut answer that we should share. Sometimes you don't know why. You're like, I don't know if I thought about this for a while. It's not what I'd necessarily choose. But the first thing that came to my mind for a major win with the digital nomad lifestyle was actually stopping my goal to get to every single country. You'll probably remember this part of my journey. So it's an interesting one because as I think more of it, my major win probably would have been just like getting there for the first time, like that first month long in Bali where I did it. Like that probably is the biggest win if I took time to think. But I did have a goal after I started traveling a bunch. I was like, I just want to get to every single country. So there's 197 countries in the world. I think I've been to something like 78 or something now, which is like a hefty chunk. But I found myself, this was probably 2 to 3 years into my digital nomad lifestyle, where I was just like on a mission, like I was a country counter, you know what I mean? And I ended up going to like collecting stamps, and I found through this, and there's plenty of people who are pursuing like to get to all 197 countries. It's a lofty goal, and it's amazing. And I've talked to a lot of people who have done it as well, or in the process of doing that. And it kind of starts to turn your travel into, at least in my experience and other people as well, where I was ending up going to destinations that I wasn't super excited about, or like maybe I was tired and or like loving a destination that I would have really enjoyed staying at for several more weeks, or slowed down and worked harder or longer, or whatever I was doing. And I was like, okay, but I'm near these 6 countries, and if I just keep going, like I can check all of these off. And so the moment that comes to mind when I really switched my mindset with this was I was living for a month in Bulgaria, which I normally don't love Europe as a whole compared to other destinations in the world. That's me personally. But I was really enjoying Bulgaria, and I was with a partner at the time, and we were like, all right, we could go spend the next 2 months like island hopping in Greece, which is right, it's like a drive from Bulgaria. Or there was like a whole road trip. I have countries I hadn't been, I hadn't been to like Latvia, Estonia, Lithuania, Slovakia. Like there was a handful of countries I hadn't been. And because I was on this country counting mission, I went that route. We did a road trip through all of these Eastern European countries. And to be fair, like with anything, I think you learn new things in new countries. Maybe you end up loving a country that you never imagined, you wouldn't have gone to otherwise. Like there's lots of benefits to it. You meet new people, all the things. But as I look back on that moment, I was like, I think I really would have enjoyed that 2 months island hopping in Greece more than the road trip that I did. And again, we look back at that and we're like, there were some hysterical times. It was fun. I learned a lot. I've been to places I wouldn't have gotten to. But that was the moment where I was like, you know what? I would rather listen to my gut and say, I want to go back to Bali or spend 2 more months in Playa del Carmen and chill where I love and have friends versus like just go to, I don't know, like some country I haven't been to simply to check the box or to like move around 3 days faster than, like quick just to get to new places. So that was me personally, and everybody's different. And I still would love, like in the back of my mind, I'm like, I would love to get to every country, but like maybe it's for an invitation for a wedding somewhere that in a new country I haven't been to, or I just have the time, or it makes sense, but not going just to check off a country was kind of like a big win for me.
I can see that as kind of it is kind of an accomplishment. So I can see that as being addicting. And you get a stamp too. It makes it big. And the stamps become a pain in the ass, actually.
I know. I just got I just got 2 new passports. Yeah, because your passports fill up, and
yeah, and the stamps become less fun, especially when you have to get visas that are a whole page. But
exactly.
I guess I've had that in the back of my mind. Every now and then I look and go, oh, I wish I'd seen more countries, but it's still never been enough for me to like really bounce around a ton.
Yeah.
It's just I've always just kind of been a slow mad, I guess.
You started with slow mad.
Yeah, and I go back to places a lot too. So yeah, I'm glad you answered that one, because that answer it's a lot different from me. It's just some perspective. Do you see yourself going back to that high pace travel again? Or you think you're just pretty much done with it?
I mean, for now, I've reached a point, for whatever reason this year, like, and moving into next year, I want to be a lot slower. I feel like for whatever reason I've changed. I'm like, I don't want to bounce around everywhere new just to go. I'm like, I just want to like relax a little more, stay places longer. I think me, you, and Diego all kind of, you've been a little bit, like you've been there longer than I have already, but I feel like the 3 of us are all kind of at that stage now, but this is like 8 years into travel. So I feel like I'm letting myself sort of go through phases, and I think, maybe if I did that for the next 2-3 years, maybe after that I would be like refreshed and ready and like, give me those new countries again. So I think that is inherently in me, and I'm sure I will get back to that. But for like short term, the next year or so, I do at least imagine like really slowing down and just like maybe just chilling in like Costa Rica and Mexico and the US for a little bit, instead of like popping over to like Africa and then Asia and then Europe and then here and there. And but I'm sure I will get back to that like more exploratory phase at some point.
What we should do is a podcast on the top X destinations to slow mad.
Yeah, it was an interesting win for me that I didn't like. I would have thought the win would have been like, I've reached all 197 countries, but for me, it's actually, I think it's applicable to, like, it's taught me a lot in life in general. I feel like there's people who just chase achievements of like, must run 30 marathons or do that. It's like, that in itself isn't bad. Maybe you genuinely want to do that. But when it becomes like, it's a should, or I'm doing it and not enjoying it, even if it's hard, like there's times where you want to push yourself and be hard, but it really taught me a lot just like in life in general of like not pursuing goals just for an outward number or achievement or to say I've done something, and just genuinely being like, what do I intuitively feel like doing? And that was like, I think that's why it was a bigger win for me, was just being able to listen to that for myself and not look for like external achievements in any way. So yeah, I think a lot of learnings from Nomad Life apply to all parts of life. All right, so number 3, Jeff, let's see what it is. Okay. Have you encountered a language barrier that led to a humorous or memorable situation during your travels?
Oh, you know what? Yeah, we talked about this one. It was
Which
kind of
one?
like in passing, but it wasn't. Do you remember when I was asking for something? I can't remember what it was. It was in Bolivia.
The
and
flute.
The flute, yeah. But what was I actually? I was asking for a knife or something?
For wood whittling? I think you wanted to... Yes, a knife to whittle wood is what you wanted to do.
I think what I wanted was I wanted to figure out how to get a piece of wood so that I could whittle it. Because a little background for the audience. Like
Jeff's a wood whittler.
I occasionally whittle wood. Like I make little figurines, caricatures, things like that. I make jewelry sometimes too, and I wanted to do that. It's like an easy thing to do anywhere. You just pick up a stick and like a knife, and you just start carving stuff. But I was in Bolivia, and I didn't have any of my stuff with me, so I actually asked. Do you remember his name? I don't remember his name. He was working and he works and lives at Diego's house in Bolivia, and I was trying to ask him how to get a stick or a piece of wood. And he interpreted it as, well, he didn't interpret it. I said, because my Spanish was terrible. I was like, I wanted a flute. And so he left that conversation thinking that I was looking for a flute. And so I think he did some research or something. And then he ended up getting back to me with like tracking down some leads on flutes or something.
I think that he told Diego, and Diego like was like the middleman interpreter, and was like, Jeff, are you looking for a flute? Like it became like the inside joke where I feel like we're just like crying tears of laughter of this man who was like trying to search for a flute for Jeff.
Imagine the confusion that he had.
Yes. Do you mind just getting me a flute, please?
Gringo comes in and asks for flutes. Oh
my gosh.
Yeah, no, that was. I guess that was. You run into language barriers all the time, constantly, but that was like the one that sticks out as like, oh, that's kind of ridiculous.
That was. I feel like it definitely fits a humorous, and maybe because I feel like it was like it's one of those things that was like funnier when you were there too. Like it was hysterical in the moment. I feel like Diego trying to like be the middleman between it was like, what is going on here? But that's a good one. A lot of people have a fear though that like, if you can't speak we go plenty of places where like, we each know, more Spanish now, but I know a little bit of Spanish, but a lot of people do have that fear, like they're going to embarrass themselves or not be able to do something or something's going to go horribly wrong with languages. But as a whole, like from that, if that's the most embarrassing thing is like you've asked for a flute. But what would you say to someone who like is nervous about not speaking the language going somewhere?
Oh, I think you're going to be surprised how many places do speak English. I think in my experience, the least that I find is in South and Central America. I feel like there's less English there, just like more Spanish dominant. But I think you can work out Spanish. Most people can work out Spanish fairly easily. North American speaking, right? Like coming from Europe, maybe not so much. But in any case, if you can't speak the language, you can use Google Translate. I mean, there's Google Translate, the app I would recommend getting, because you can type things in and it'll translate it and you can just show it to people, and that works just as fine. Yeah. You can also do the audio. I think the audio version too, right? Like you can speak into it. Yeah, you can
just speak into it and it translates in words for them or audio for them to hear.
And that'll work just fine. So like I think you'd probably find that in Latin America the most. Europe, I found that almost most people do speak English. I would say a little bit less so in Eastern Europe. Like when I was in Armenia And Armenia, like once you start getting outside the major city center, it's like, you're using Google Translate. They have no idea what you're saying. And you will need it. So for those
it's like
concerns,
in small towns and places. But I think about there was a moment and like I was driving through Serbia with a friend, like in the middle of nowhere, small towns where like literally no one spoke English, and we had a flat tire and had to use Google Translate to be like, please help us. Like, how do I change my tire? Like, where do I get to the tire store? Like, I don't know how to say that in Serbian, but it's like that was memorable. I won't forget like those Google Translate times trying to figure that out, but it's definitely doable. So it's
definitely not. It shouldn't be anything that holds anybody back. That's for sure. Next one up for you. Share an experience where you've had to overcome your fear or hesitation to try something new while living as a digital nomad.
Fear or hesitation trying something new. Okay, well, the very first thing that came to my mind, maybe because it's top of mind with us, but that was ayahuasca. I feel like I didn't really have a fear, I don't know if that's fair to say, a big fear or hesitation, but it was something new, and it was still like a big thing to do. Like, I feel like before we had done it was like I had to do a lot of research. We had to figure out like what can we eat or not beforehand? What do we do to prepare? Like where do we go? What do we do that day? Like it was
a lot of unknowns with that.
A lot of I would say it was more unknown. I was excited. I had wanted to do it for a while, and I was like pretty pumped. To me, I remember telling you I was like, it feels like Christmas, like Christmas Eve. Like what am I going to learn from? Like I couldn't wait to do it to figure out, like, even though it's hard, but I would say that was still kind of like a thing that was like, it was a lot to do. And
can't wait to throw up in a pitch black cave. 30-degree weather. Yeah, it sounds
to be fair, I didn't know it'd be so cold or that we'd be in a pitch black cave. There was a lot of things. I live by blissful ignorance. I feel like other people who do it like research absolutely everything and know the worst case scenarios and all the fears and like exactly what they're getting into and what it looks like there. I was just like, I don't know. Our friend, like, we had several other people through Wi-Fi Try, like friends of friends who had done it in this location. So I was just like, I don't know, they had a good experience. Like, I'm down, let's do it. So, but yeah, that was the first thing. I'm sure there's so many more of things that I've, honestly, like, I don't know, trying something new while living as a nomad. I think just becoming a nomad was like the big thing that was like, just not, I would say the big, like just not knowing anyone living this life and just being like, all right, I'm going to go fly to Asia and stay for a few months and hopefully meet some people. And like, I think the biggest thing was doing that, just like living abroad and realizing you could do it. But I don't know, I don't have many fears or hesitations. When I decide I want to do something, I'm just kind of like, all right, here we go. What about,
same.
I don't know, does anything come to mind for you?
When I think back, same thing. When I think back, I first started, I guess, traveling and working was 6 years ago this month. And I was just like, I'm going to go live in another city and work from there and see what happens. And like, it was new. And it was like, it was a lot of unknowns, but I don't think it was a fear to overcome. It just, you just kind of go step by step. All right, I'm going to book a spot, figure out how to get there, figure out where to eat, how to shop. And it's like, if you just break it down into step by step chunks, it's actually not very hard. And then after that, I guess I kind of just didn't do that for a while. And then my first chapter was almost 5 years ago. And that was just like, it was in a place I'd already been. It was just book a flight and then live. There's a lot to it. So, I don't think there's a ton of fear. It's just a lot of unknown for the most part. And you just do it. Yeah. That's the same thing. Like, if I want to do something, I just go do it.
Same. Yeah, there's two. I feel like even something like maybe like scuba diving for me, it was like, okay, I've never breathed underwater before. Can I do this? How do I do it? What is something, that was like, there's so many fears of things can go wrong. It's like, there's lots of things like that. But yeah, overall, I would say the biggest one was just like fear of booking a flight and not knowing anyone and just doing it anyway and then continuing to do that for years and years and years and years. I don't know. It's just been wild, but yeah, that's for that one. Okay, number 5, Jeff, if you could give one piece of advice to someone considering the digital nomad lifestyle, I like this one, what would it be and why is it essential?
Only one piece of advice. Oh, man. So sometimes harder coming up with just one thing. There's a list of things. So this is assuming somebody that hasn't been a digital nomad before. They're just coming into it, want to be one. Yeah. I think it would just be an extension of what I was just saying is the biggest, I think there's so many fears of the unknown that come with it. I would just say, think of it as just small little things to do, just like a couple checklists. The hardest thing is booking that flight. All right, so maybe I'd do it in a different order. I'd say find a place, find the location that you want to go to. Listen to some of our old podcasts where we talk about starter locations. I'd probably start in a starter location, pick a spot, find a place to live. So if you're not doing a co-living situation, like if you're not doing Wi-Fi Tribe, you're just going to book a place and you're going to do it on your own. I would, pick one of the starter locations, find it in our podcast, find a spot to live. I would make it simple. Just go on, probably you do hotels.com or booking.com. You're going to find very similar types of results. Find a place on there or Airbnb, and then buy a ticket. That's kind of it. And then there's really nothing else to prepare for because all your plans are going to change anyways. It's just kind of learn as you go. Like I could say, plan out your first week, figure out where all the gyms are and stuff. Probably going to get there and you're going to walk by that gym and be like, I don't really like that one. You're probably going to walk by the grocery store you researched and be like, I found a better one. So I think part of the fun of it is just working through it, going through the challenges, and then figuring it out as you go, right?
Yeah.
But the only things you have to do is people think this is big monumental thing. My mom's a good example. She thinks it's so terrifying. All you have to do is buy a ticket, go through security, and then sit and wait for 6 hours. That's it. All you have to do is sit, and then you get a taxi. It's just step-by-step, tiny little things that add up to a big thing. So if I boiled down to a sentence, is just take step-by-step actions, and it adds up to one big thing.
Yeah.
And then when you realize it, when you get there, it's not a big thing.
Yeah, really I think a lot of it is the prep beforehand as well, too. Saying, like, what do I do? Like, do I rent out my place? Do I keep my stuff? Do I sell my everything? Do I pack it up? Like, there's a lot of those things before even getting to that place, too. Getting the remote job, like making sure you can travel, you have an income, all of that. But as Jeff said,
we've talked about that, too. Just do a trial.
It's all still, do a little trial. Do it for a month. Do little step-by-step things.
Yeah, just hop out there for 3-4 weeks or something. And just give it a go. See if you like it. I mean, it can't hurt to you probably should. Just go out there and see if you will. You probably get addicted to it like we did.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you think about it with from a low risk perspective, it can't hurt at all.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario, it's not for me and I had a 4-week lifelong experience you could talk about.
Yeah. I think that something I've learned from nomad life is it just gives you the confidence to figure anything out as you go. And I think there is so much, you can try to plan for some, but there's going to be barriers that you didn't realize or didn't know. And it's just kind of you get to the airport and you're like, oh, I don't have a working phone. That might have been nice before. I could have prepared for that. But also you're like, okay, I'm going to connect to Wi-Fi in this airport. I'm going to ask someone for help. I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. There's just, I think part of travel is just realizing that you as a person can figure anything out as you go. And yes, sometimes there's times where I wish I would have done a little something beforehand. I could have known more, prepared more. But it's also, as Jeff said, it's as a coach, I always say with anything, it's breaking it down into smaller chunks. It feels really big, like a big cloud of just I have to become a nomad, right? That's a huge, big thing. But if it's okay, I just need to pick a country, then I need to just book a flight, and then I just need to book a place, and then I just need to, it's you just think about it as little things sequentially. It's don't worry about 30 steps ahead. Just keep looking at what's the one next step you have to do.
Yeah, exactly. Just step by step. It's easy. It's you don't jump up a ladder. You just climb each time. It's piece of cake.
Jump up a ladder. I love that.
Yeah. All right. Number 6 is yours, and it is, if you had to choose between a stable, location-independent job or uncertain but adventurous entrepreneurial pursuit, what would you pick? I guess that one's a pretty easy answer.
I know. Well, honestly, it's what would I do or what would someone do? Say this again.
What would you do? So either a stable location, like a digital nomad job, right? Or uncertain but adventurous entrepreneurial pursuits.
Well,
I know your answer.
Known where we are based on that. Yeah.
Explain why, maybe.
So I think and I coach people through this all the time as well. And for me, like I said, ignorance was bliss when I first started this. So I quit like the very big corporate stable job at Pepsi. Like I feel like the biggest kind of type of stable company for the most part that you can do. And I also, to be fair, when I made this decision, like many nomads, I'd read The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss, which I know how you feel about Tim Ferriss. But if you talk to, I feel like of our generation of nomads, like I think people find out about it other ways now because like Instagram didn't really exist in the same way back then. TikTok wasn't a thing. Like there wasn't all these viral travelers and bloggers back when I started this. I'm like back in my day. So I learned about it through that, and the way he explained it in that book, it was pretty much like the only way that I knew of to have the freedom and flexibility to travel the world and be a nomad was to start my own business. Like I just didn't know that I could do it by working for like a normal company. Say like being an employee for a company. I didn't know that at the time. So I think had I known that was a thing, I think I would have used that as a ladder, like as a stepping stone to have that stable income. And like, because I had some hard years. I mean, I'd say I had 4 years from the time I read that book and knew I wanted to live as a digital nomad to the time when my business, like I'd quit my job. Like by the time I got the courage, like 2 years later to quit my, nice, cushy, stable corporate job to start my own business. And then for that business to become profitable enough that I could travel the world while doing so. So that was 4 years. So like I could have saved myself those 4 years and just started with a job that would have let me travel if I could rewind time. And that was an option. Like internet wasn't really the same back then. Companies weren't doing this. Like I'm sure some people were. I just didn't know of it. So anyway, it's not what I did, but that's how I would do it now and then start. But I also love the entrepreneurial life and like what was it framed as
it's like a stable location independent job.
Or what was the entrepreneurial version? There was like some adjectives with it.
Yeah, it was adventurous. Uncertain, but adventurous.
Uncertain. Yeah. So I live for that now. Like I think I've done several businesses of that. My coaching, being a career coach to start. I don't think that's less of like a big business, but just some one-on-one sort of like coaching that I did for a lot of years in the career space. But Beach Commute to me is the essence of that sort of like unknown, adventurous, Wild West that like I do, with you and Diego, and like I love it the most of anything. So I think that's inherently like what I love and who I am and what I will always do. But if I could redo it, and a lot of the coaching I do with my clients is like, have that, I call it like a bridge job, which is have that steady, stable income so you're not you don't have to worry where your next dollar is coming from. Like you feel pretty secure. You're going to get a paycheck in 2 weeks while you're, in Europe or the Middle East or wherever. And then use that your spare time, like to start your side hustle and kind of explore things, try things, do things, learn things, and then ease into that as you start to see like it sort of become profitable. So that's what I would have done had I known, but I was just like jumped into the deep end, quit every part of my life, like moved back home with my parents to start this business. Like it was fucking hard. So I might do it a little differently, but anyway, that was why I did that and why I would do it differently if I knew everything I know today. But what about you?
Yeah, I think I guess I did it that way that you were talking about. Maybe ideally doing it. I mean, I started this thing off working for medium-sized organizations, and it was very stable. I was making a really good income, and so it was a really easy transition for me to becoming entrepreneur. And then again, mostly here focusing on Beach Commute. I do, as you guys know, I do SEO stuff as well for some clients. I love that part of me, and that's never going to go away no matter what. But yeah, there's a reason why I went into this pursuit. Yeah, it's more, what were some of these adjectives again? It was uncertain and adventurous.
Adventurous and uncertain.
It is, but I don't like working for anybody. Like I don't like somebody telling me to log in at 8 a.m. Like, no. Why? Why 8 a.m.? Why not 6 a.m.? Why not 11 a.m.? Like, why these forced, contained productivity hours? Like,
right.
It doesn't work that way. Like, you're not, every job, and we talked about this last time, should be like value-based. It should be what you put out.
Yeah.
And if you're just sitting at at a laptop for 8 hours when you're not feeling like in the right zone to get stuff done and be productive, you're just sitting there wasting your life. I don't want to do that. So it's for me, I like being able to pick and choose things I work on, times I work on things. It just works the best for me. So you and Diego helped me get to that point, because it was a lot of fear, and I'm sure there's a lot of you listening out there now that do have that fear and going into it. So if you are, Marissa has great advice. If you're looking into this digital nomad life, maybe like a soft landing into it, stick with what you're doing for a little bit. And then if that feels like the right move down the road, do it. Absolutely. And I don't regret it. Everything works out for me. I'm not going to go back and work for somebody again. I don't want to.
Right. And it's interesting. We've talked a lot. I feel like we talked a lot about this in the beginning of not the beginning of this podcast, like episodes kind of like 1 and 2, maybe even of the podcast. But there's different, like, when you think about the different ways you can make money make an income as a nomad, there's kind of like a ladder of freedom that we keep stepping up, right? So it's like you start as an employee working, just like those are the remote jobs that we send out, on a weekly basis to everyone, and have a membership where you can get even more of those every day. And the reason we do that is because it's the fastest, the easiest, and the most reliable way to make that income to start nomad life. So like I said, it took me 4 years, and even once I quit my job, like really 2 years to become profitable, where I couldn't travel and wanted to. So when we say that, it's like I think we chose to help people find these remote jobs in this way, because the freedom to be anywhere is like the biggest start to me, right? Like you can travel the world while you still have a job and still making an income. And then you might still want to keep pursuing that ladder of freedom, which is then to say, okay, now I want a job maybe where I don't have to work certain hours, but maybe I'm still working for someone else for a paycheck. And then maybe I'll become a freelancer and start to learn something new, but it's your time for hours. And then you jump to like the biggest, the hardest part of all, which is creating a profitable company where maybe, eventually you can spend less and less time and you have more freedom doing what you want, when you want, how you want to do it, getting more passive income. It's sort of that ladder you work up towards, in my opinion. So when it comes to nomad life, I think getting a remote job with an existing company, it just allows you to get there quicker to start living nomad life. And then I think, people want to keep pursuing, like, how do you get more? The goal is like, how do you get more and more and more free? And that's what we want to help everyone with, is just like becoming, more free to be something. I read something recently, a quote I loved, which is like, people want to be, it's like you want to be where you want, when you want, with who you want, doing what you want. It's like all the W's, right? That's the ultimate freedom. And it's sort of like you kind of work your way up the chain to do that. It's been a journey.
Yeah, it's been a journey.
But it has been a journey to get here. And I think that's a message I would share with people as well. Whereas, like, I think there's so many messages on social media today in general that's just like, I started this and I became a millionaire overnight and I'm making $10 million per day overnight. And it's a lot of get rich quick, and it feels like I'm not, a lot of people feel like, you're not successful if you haven't reached that yet, or you've tried one little thing and you failed, or whatever it might be. And so the message that I've, seen time and time again, sometimes you do have those it seems like overnight success, but it's people who for 7 years are like, I tried this and that didn't work, and I tried this and that didn't work, so I got a full-time job, but then I started traveling, and then I did this, and I tried a few things, and then, and then I met someone, and then this thing took off, or whatever it is. So if that sounds like you, and you're seeing like these overnight successes of, influencers or entrepreneurs, it doesn't have to be that to start. Like, start with a remote job, get that bridge, get the freedom, start traveling, and then start exploring those, the side hustles and the side businesses, and then, keep searching for that freedom, but it's like not all or nothing. I think people, sometimes it's easy to forget that. Like, take the little steps along the way. So as Jeff said, you might not jump to the top of the ladder, but like, just keep taking the steps of freedom, like one at a time.
Yeah. Each one's fun too. It's not like a job. It's not like every one of these, like when you look at locations that you want to go to, just getting back to like starting out your digital nomad journey, that's kind of fun. Like, do I want to go to a beach? Do I want to go to a city? Look at pictures of it. Just up on Google Images and be like, feel it. It's like, oh wow, I could be there. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So treat each one of them as kind of fun. Like, and then you book your flight. How do I get a good deal? We just did a podcast on that. That's kind of fun too. It's a little bit of a game. How do I get a better seat? That's kind of a game too. So just challenge yourself. That's really good advice.
I love that. So I think, are we done with all the questions? Is that all
That's
six?
it for the questions. Yeah. Thank
Love
you,
it.
everybody.
Yeah. So with that, if you enjoyed this episode, if you've listened before or brand new and you enjoyed the content that you got today, anything you learned along the way, we'd love if you can give a review. It takes 5 seconds. If you can just take your phone or whatever platform you're listening on, give it a little thumbs up, subscribe, 5 stars. If you want to leave a comment, feel free. And otherwise, beachcommute.com/email. You can go there, sign up to get on our email list where we send out to remote jobs or remote companies every single week that you can do. And we've got a membership you can join for more, but at the very least you get 2, and people love getting those emails. We send out info about the podcast, so super helpful. Anything else, Jeff?
Oh, I think that's it. We'll see you next week.